Trump means it. He means business. And there's a lot of stuff at play right now. I mean, for one thing, the media itself, the idea that the View host was coordinating behind the scenes with Liz Cheney, and Liz Cheney was somehow reportedly having somebody amend their testimony, which would be witness tampering. I mean, the media's got some blame in this, most definitely. And we saw, of course, just recently that George Stephanopoulos over at ABC, by the way, which also produces The View, that he just got hit with, he and his network, $15 million. I believe it was 16 altogether because Georgie probably had to pay $1 million to cover the legal fees for Trump's lawyers, and then $15 million is being donated to the library. And Donald Trump is not done. He also has some questions about one Ann Seltzer over at the Des Moines Register. Remember the Des Moines newspaper that came out with that crazy poll just at the 11th hour on the eve of the election that completely reversed what everybody else had been seeing? Well, he has not forgotten about that. Watch.
I'm going to be bringing one against the people in Iowa, their newspaper, which had a very, very good pollster who got me right all the time. And then just before the election, she said I was going to lose by 3 or 4 points, and it became the biggest story all over the world because I was going to win Iowa by 20 points. The farmers loved me, and I loved the farmers. And it was interesting the way she did it. She brought it down 2 weeks before. She said I was going to only win by 4. That was a big story. But that was good because she brought it down from like 22 points to 4 or whatever the number was. Way up, an easy win. We never even thought to go there. I respect them. I love them. And they understand there's no reason to go there because she brought it from way up, walk away, which it was. And it turned out to be in the election, too, by the way. It was a win by many, many points. And then she brought it down very smartly to 4 a couple of weeks before. And everyone said, wow, that's amazing. He's only up by 4 points. Then she brought it down to where I was down by 3 or 4, whatever number she used. And that was the Des Moines Register. And it was their parent. And in my opinion, it was fraud and it was election interference. You know, she's gotten me right always. She's a very good pollster. She knows what she was doing. And she then quit before. And we'll probably be filing a major lawsuit against them today or tomorrow. We're filing one on 60 Minutes, you know about that, where they took Kamala's answer, which was a crazy answer, a horrible answer, and they took the whole answer out and they replaced it with something else she said later on.
It's kind of funny, the 60 Minutes one. And I've showed you that one before. It is sort of amazing. They really made her look just terrific. They completely they did surgery on her answer. I mean, you had to do surgery on her answers because the word salad was so prolific. You had to get in there with some precision and try to make the woman make sense. Because otherwise, how are you ever going to present that to the audience? Anyway, he's suing CBS for $10 billion. I don't even think the whole company, Paramount, its parent company, is worth anything close to that. It might be around $8 billion. So he's making a pretty big overture on that front. In terms of the Des Moines newspaper, the only thing I would say on that is they'd have to, in their diligence and in their discovery process, somehow be able to prove that this was deliberate and that this was malicious, because you got to give people somewhat the benefit of the doubt. The pollster, she had been right a lot before. Of course, that's what made it even more peculiar. It's like, whoa, what's going on? And she at the time explained it with a lot more women, middle-aged women were voting, or older women were voting. And so that had come into her demographic. And I don't think she changed the numbers to really adjust for the reality that those people weren't actually making up the majority of the electorate. She somehow just had this different sort of hodgepodge of people that she was interviewing and incorporated them into her statistics, and it was sort of inherently flawed. Now the question becomes, did she do that deliberately? Was anybody on the take? Was she getting paid to have some kind of different outcome? What were the biases involved? Assuming that she's completely innocent of that and she just sucks at her job and she's just a bad pollster. But by the way, she hadn't been previously. So that was, I think, part of the disturbing thing there. And if there was any pressure from the paper, if the paper was trying to solve for a certain narrative and wanted to be able to say, hey, Donald Trump is going to lose Iowa, well then, yes, he's got a heck of a case. A heck of a case, believe me. And I think when I look at the other situations in the media, they were clearly talking their book over and over and over again. They just despised him. I mean, how many times did we have to sit through, oh, he's basically the next Hitler? Remember that over and over and over again. And this was a constant. I mean, Joe Scarborough, unbelievable.
Here, okay, now, where can we meet in the middle, la, la, la? On this question, we're past that. You can't meet. If they voted for Trump in 16, whatever. They voted for Trump in 20, they knew exactly what they were doing. If they vote for Donald Trump in 2024, and I've said it on my show, I'll say it here, they're knowingly voting for a fascist. They're voting for a racist. They're voting for somebody that wants to put this country 200 years in the back. And so I'm not trying to figure them out. I'm trying to figure out how we get people out who love democracy, who love freedom, who love the rights of all Americans, how to get them to the voting booth. Because that's how we save our country. I can't yell that loud on TV, but it's nice being able to do it.
Did you see who's with him? The guy who apparently got $500,000 for interviewing Kamala Harris. His organization, Reverend Al Sharpton, reportedly received 2 chunks of $250,000 each per the Washington Examiner. Unbelievable. By the way, that's why the network is for sale, in part. It's got lousy ratings. It's got lousy talent. And they go on and they say all this crazy stuff. I mean, this was the media. And so you have to say, listen, if you guys are purporting to be one thing and then you're saying these wild things, is there not any kind of defamation libel that he can employ? I mean, somebody goes on and says these things about you with absolutely no evidence. They're equating him with the worst ever, most heinous leader in modern history who's responsible for well over 5 million people dying. And that's okay?
Of course, Trump is a Nazi time again.
Let's deal with Hitler, okay?
I don't think it's hyperbolic to say that. I mean, that is Mussolini, Hitler-like language.
Trump's affinity for Hitler was always covered under an umbrella of his stupidity.
Echoing Hitler's words.
Listen to this.
Well, Hitler was duly elected.
That's right. Echoing the hateful rhetoric of Adolf Hitler.
It echoes Hitler.
That's the kind of language Hitler used in Mein Kampf.
About vermin and Hitler and Mussolini.
That's a horrifying clip. That's a fascist clip.
Oh, God. Okay, so the fascism, I'm all about freedom of speech. And you can have an opinion, and you should have an opinion. But you should back that opinion up with substance. The kinds of things that they said, while purporting to be completely non-biased and to be down the middle and this, that, and the other, that's pretty heinous stuff.